Hi guys, and welcome to the No Gluten Zone. Today I'm going to do a video all about the Aeropress. I debated on doing this video. The main reasons were that there are so many videos out there on the Aeropress. What made me decide to go ahead and do this? Number one, I didn't see anyone doing it from the standpoint of someone who has food issues. And I think this really caters to that in some ways. And number two, there was a ton of misinformation out there that really kind of threw me off and almost made me not get some of the things that have been really helpful to me. And these were channels that are like the coffee guru channels, like that's their area of specialty, and yet they were giving really wrong information. So I wanted to maybe help clear up some of those issues that seem to be very misunderstood and can maybe make your life easier and better if you do choose to get an Aeropress. I still say I love French press coffee. At home, the big advantage to the Aeropress at home is cleanup. Cleanup is just so much easier than French press, I have to say. Also, I love the fact that the Aeropress is so good for when you travel. The one negative that I see people mention is that you still need hot water. It doesn't heat the water for you. You still need to get hot water. So there are a lot of options for that. If you stay in a hotel lobbies always have hot water along with coffees and tea bags and what have you. So I was traveling with my Stanley Boil and Brew that I did a review on in the past, and I already had to get hot water for that. It's a French press, in case you missed that video and you don't know what it is. It is a French press, but it's not a glass French press. I believe it's stainless steel, and it's actually made to go directly on a campfire. And so I was traveling with that to make my Creo brew and coffee. So I already needed hot water. We also travel with a little collapsible tea kettle that heats water. And I just bought a travel milk frother that can also boil water. So there's a lot of options. If you have access to a microwave, a lot of hotels, Airbnbs will give you access to microwave. You can heat your water in there too. So there are options to get hot water. But yes, that's like the only downside is that you still have to provide the hot water for the Aeropress. But it's small, it's lightweight, it's not fragile, it's so easy to clean up. It's fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. The only downside to the Aeropress is that it only makes like one serving of coffee at a time. And so if I am going to make like a lot of coffee for guests or something, I will still pull out my French press instead. I still love French press coffee. But on a day-to-day basis, I am really using my Aeropress, and I'm really excited. We will be traveling in a couple weeks, and I'm really excited to take it along with my travel milk frother. So when I got my Aeropress, I considered buying the metal filter, but I decided to just go with the paper filter. I saw so many people saying the paper filter is so much better. I thought, I'll give that a try. That's easier cleanup. It's all good. I have to say I was really disappointed with the taste of my coffee. I did kind of play around with, grind size, how long I let it sit and brew, water to coffee ratio. I did play around with those things and make adjustments on my own, but I did not like the paper filter. Like 2 days in, I ordered the metal filter. And there are other options out there. There's tons of filter options. There's cloth filters, there's different brands of paper filters, there's different brands of metal filters. There are so many options. I just ordered the Aeropress metal filter, and that was a game changer. Right there, I loved the taste. And I guess it makes sense. Since I do love French press coffee, this is probably closer to that than a paper filter. So looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, I guess that made sense. I just didn't see it coming. However, I know the whole intention of the Aeropress is that you're supposed to put it here with your filter and just put your coffee, pour your water, and plunge it down immediately. And I've never tried it. I know myself, and I'm quite certain I wouldn't be happy with that cup of coffee. So when I heard about the inverted method, I was like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. So with the inverted method, what you do is you put the plunger in first, and you have it like this. You put your coffee grounds in here, you put your hot water in here, and you always stir because some coffee grounds will get stuck in there in a clump and the water won't even touch them. So stirring is super important. Then you put your filter on, and after you let it sit, everyone's different. In a French press, I typically let my coffee sit there and brew for 4 minutes. In this, 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the roast level of the coffee and the particular coffee. Some I like 2 minutes, some 2.5, some 3. Just it depends on what I'm doing. So then at that point, you put your cup here and you flip it over here and you press it. I will say I had a lot of accidents, a lot of messes. You know, sometimes there's pressure in here and sometimes this can pop out. You can have hot water and coffee everywhere. I had early mornings where I was really tired and I forgot to put this on, and then the whole thing is in here, grounds and everything. So there were a lot of messes, and I've seen a lot of people out there talk about all the messes and that they don't like doing the inverted method for that reason. I also wanted to try to make espresso-like coffee out of this. I know this is a super hot topic. Don't kill me. But as a separate thing from my daily coffee. And so I watched a ton of videos on different attachments and things you can use, and I saw them compare, and I ended up choosing the JoePresso attachment for that. So I had bought this, I had bought the metal filter, and then I bought the JoePresso. I did also buy a funnel. It didn't come with a funnel, and I was disappointed because when I go from my grinder into here, it fits really well here, but it'll spill out when I go here. So I did buy that too. Okay, so going back to that, I will say I saw the Fellow Prismo filter and cap being compared to the JoePresso, being used to make espresso-like coffee. That was the only scenario I saw the Fellow Prismo being used in. So I ended up choosing the JoePresso and I wrote off the Fellow Prismo. Then someone was telling me online, I was having a conversation, and someone was telling me if I like the inverted method, I should get the Fellow Prismo cap. And I was like, why? Why would I do that? And they said, because you can do inverted without inverting. And I was like, wait, what? So here is a huge misunderstanding out there from what I see, that people don't really fully understand what all these attachments and aftermarket things can do and are for. So as soon as I realized that, I ordered the Fellow Prismo. I will say I looked into and compared the Fellow Prismo with the Aeropress flow control cap, I think it's called. I might have the name wrong. There was also a generic one out there, a company I never heard of. I did look at it. I considered it. I was gonna go with the Aeropress one. The one advantage the Aeropress flow control one has is that you can use the paper filters with it. So if you love paper filters and don't like metal filters, you would want to go with that one. The downside to the Aeropress one, from what I saw, is that yes, you use their filter. So for me, I would be using this metal filter. And I saw in a YouTube video when they were pressing, the water was coming out. It was coming through the little center part where it's supposed to, but then it was also leaking out all around the sides. The person didn't mention it, but I saw that. And then I saw other people talking about that and saying it's because on the Fellow Prismo, the filter has this rubber gasket around the edge. So it keeps the water from escaping out the sides and only coming through the middle, which is really, really good. I think that other generic one out there also has a rubber gasket, but I might be mistaken. Because I kind of wanted to just get the Aeropress one because I was like, I already have a filter. If I order the Fellow Prismo, I'm going to get another filter. I don't need another filter. That's kind of the way I saw it. But then when I saw that you kind of do want this rubber gasket on your filter, I went ahead and got this. And I'm very, very happy. The one thing I will say disappoints me is both the Fellow Prismo and the JoePresso. It is challenging to attach them on here. The JoePresso being the most challenging. This one's only a little bit challenging, but I feel like they could have threaded them better and made them go on nicer. It's a little bit of a struggle. That's the only downside. So this is the Fellow Prismo. This is the original Aeropress with the metal filter, paper filters. I have these packed away. I just pulled them out for the video. I will like never ever use these. I love the Fellow Prismo. That's what I use every single day. So the JoePresso is just this with another filter with a rubber gasket as well. It also has, I forgot, it has this pressurized basket, which looks very much like on a portafilter for making espresso. So you put the basket in here, you put your coffee grounds, and I bought a tamp. You don't have to use a tamp. I like it. I think it works better. And this is a 51 millimeter pressurized basket. So I bought a 51 millimeter tamp to tamp the coffee. And after you tamp, you put this on, and then you put it on here. This was another thing I saw, like, these are like coffee guru channels. Like they know coffee. And yet once they had this on, you know, normally when you put the water, you stir your coffee grounds, right? I get it. Like you do need to when you're making regular, but with this, the coffee grounds are locked down here underneath this filter. Like there's nothing to stir. And I would see everyone demonstrating this stirring. And I was like, you're not stirring anything. So that was another thing that I saw that I was just like, I don't know what's going on here. So I think that's really all I have to show and share with the Aeropress. I have not made my coffee yet this morning, so I will go through my routine of making my coffee, my daily cup of coffee, and kind of show you that. And then I will go ahead, when it cools down, I will rinse it all off, and I will go ahead and make an espresso-like coffee and show you how I do that. So I'm going to put the Fellow Prismo on the end, and it will sit on my mug. I do normally add my collagen to my cup before I add the coffee. I always put collagen in my coffee. So we'll put that there. Okay, I have 18 grams of coffee beans. I'm gonna grind these and I'll be right back. This is where I love the funnel because you can see it could easily spill over. And I don't know, I see like tons of people on YouTube who have these funnels. I don't know if they all just bought them extra or if it used to come with one. I even asked on Amazon, because that's where I bought my Aeropress. I asked there if it comes with a funnel or not, and people were just leaving comments telling me you don't need a funnel. They seem to think that I wanted the funnel for when it comes out. The comments that they were leaving me was like, you just put it into your cup. You don't need to put it into a funnel. They didn't seem to understand that I needed it for putting the coffee grinds in. So I don't know, but I bought this separate and it works great. I will confess, I just have a cheapy blade grinder. At some point when it breaks down, I hope to upgrade to a better grinder. But I do grind this coffee finer than I do a French press coffee. And then for the JoePresso, I grind that even finer than I grind this. So for me, for my uses, I have like 3 levels of grinding. And I kind of go by time and listening to the sound of it in the grinder. Okay, so I have my hot water. And on the Aeropress, it has these numbers. There's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. So first I'm gonna just level off my coffee grounds. And what I normally do is I fill it to the 2, and I stop, and I stir. Then I fill it to the 4, and I stir again, and then I set my timer. Hey Siri.
Set timer for 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes, starting now.
And I'm gonna let that sit there and brew for 2.5 minutes. I forgot to get my milk going, so I will put that now. Into the frother it goes. Okay, the timer went off, so then you're gonna put the plunger on top. And I will say it's a little bit harder to plunge with the Fellow Prismo attachment than with the normal Aeropress filter cap, whatever it's called. The very end is probably the hardest. But when you really pack it in there at the very end, it makes it easier to pop out the puck when you clean it up. and I'll show you that. So this is pretty hot, I will say. It's better to hold it here. But that is part of the challenge when you're doing the inverted method, is like you're trying to flip this thing that's really hot and there's pressure, and like I always feel like the plunger is going to fly out, and it has happened to people. So that's the beauty of the Fellow Prismo. So we have the coffee here. I'm just waiting on my milk, but I wanted to show you the cleanup for this. So I garden. I love gardening. I have my house plants, and then I have my garden outside. So I keep my coffee grounds, and when this gets full, this is just an empty collagen container, and I keep it under my sink, and I wrote coffee grounds on it. And this is where I store the coffee grounds. And when this gets full, I take it out in the garden or in my house plants, and I use it for that too, which is fantastic. So it's just full of coffee grounds. So I will show you how easy the cleanup is with the Aeropress. Take this off. And the only one more downside to the Fellow Prismo is it can be really hard to get this filter out when you're cleaning, but it's not that big of a deal. So you just put it on here. The puck is there, and you give it a good whack. And the puck is gone. It's in there. And I just have to rinse this off. I hear my milk frother beeping. I will put my milk in here. But there is my daily cup of coffee. Fantastic. So I will clean up and set up to show you how I do the JoePresso. Okay, I want to go over the JoePresso and how I like to use it. When I got this, it didn't come with any recipes or anything. And I went on YouTube, and there's just tons of different ways of doing it. People have all their own recipes. This is kind of what I've narrowed it down to and what I really enjoy. So I encourage you to just pick someone's recipe and start with that, and then make adjustments as you go. I'm going to start with 18 grams of coffee. And I grind this a little finer than I do for my normal Aeropress coffee. So let me go grind this up. It's a little bit tricky getting it into the filter basket. It's not like a portafilter where you have like stuff around it holding it. If you put it in, like you can't, it's nice in here where it goes, but as soon as you sit it down, it pushes out. So it's a little tricky, a little challenging. I put it in a bowl because inevitably I'm going to make a mess. And I use my Aeropress funnel. It helps a little bit, but not completely, because it's a little more narrow. So then I end up with this, it's a little tall and narrow. I have to spread it out and distribute it without spilling it over. It's a little hard. So I'm going to tamp it and wipe off the edges. Put it in here. I'm going to tamp it one more time in here. Then you put your filter on top and you attach it to the bottom of the Aeropress. I'm going to do about 60 to 65 grams of water. That's also milliliters. They're 1-to-1 gram milliliter for water. (62, 63). And you want to take it off of your scale. You don't want to press on your scale. You could break your scale. Then we're going to press. This does take a lot more effort than the Prismo, and the Prismo takes a lot more effort than the original Aeropress filter. But I have tried this exact same recipe with the Prismo, and it does not taste anywhere like this. Like, I really, the flavor you get out of this is like so worth the effort. And the only real effort here is the pressing. Almost done. I can hear the air. There we go. And I like to split this between my two cortado glasses. There is a little bit of crema on there, if you can see. You can use this any way you normally use an espresso coffee. I will do like this sometimes and I usually do one a cortado and one an affogato in these glasses, but sometimes I'll just throw a shot into, if I make a rooibos chai latte, I'll throw it in there, make a dirty chai latte. If I have a hot chocolate, I'll throw one in and make a dirty hot chocolate. Even horchata, when I make horchata, I'll throw this in there and it's a dirty horchata and it's so good. So the possibilities for this are endless, and it's so, so good. And the flavor from this JoePresso is out of this world. It makes it worth it. Like, I know the Prismo's great for making regular coffee in my Aeropress, but if I want an espresso light coffee, you really have to try this. The flavor is just so fantastic. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you will get a JoePresso and give it a try. I had bought this gadget and hoped to use it with my JoePresso because it fits the cortado glasses so nice. But the JoePresso will not fit in here. You can't get a secure base to really be able to press like you need to. So it will work with the Prismo and it will work with the regular Aeropress filter head, but I don't really make this kind of drink with that. So I might just return it, but I really, really like it. The idea is so cute. So I don't know, maybe I should take what I press my espresso light coffee into and pour that in here and let it distribute. I don't know. Or maybe I can get some kind of adapter made to put in here and then the JoePresso will fit. We'll see. I don't know, because I really, really like it. The only bad reviews on it were that it's not tall enough to fit like a regular size coffee mug. They're too tall. But it fits the cortados so nicely, and I always make two of them. Like, it's nice. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you learned about the Aeropress and that you'll give it a try, and even the JoePresso and the Prismo. I think the Prismo is absolutely essential. And then if you want to make espresso-like coffee, you really, really need to try the JoePresso. Amazing. So I hope this was informative and helpful. Have a great day, guys, and God bless you.